All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage, and we're all definitely happy and grateful for you to be here with us this evening as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals in this amazing Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes. And as always, let's participate and engage. Let's lock this thing down. If everybody's ready to go, do me a huge favor. Drop me a 1 in the chat. Let me know you can hear me loud and clear, and we can get things started. All right. Benit, David, good evening. Michelle. All right. Jeremy, I see you. Okay. Ryan, good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, bro. I am doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be here. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Glad to be here as well. Every day above ground is a great day. So
yes, sir.
I am definitely happy to be here with everybody in this awesome group. So with that being said, right, let's dive into today's action. So let me scroll down here, get into Wednesday, the 19th, and we saw today, right? Hey, technicals and the fundamentals coming together. CPI for the UK came in at 7.9, right? Inflation cooling forecast was 8.2. So we saw the drop, right? We were looking at the 80-20 on that pound dollar, and we saw the bottom fell right out of it. So, and I don't even think that's a target. I have to look at it, but we saw that as a result. So that came out at 2 a.m. Today. So hopefully, those of you who may have been involved with that setup, you woke up to, your trade being in the blue, as they say. So 7.9% inflation cooling. We know that follows what happened in the US. We know that we saw inflation out of the Eurozone come down as well. And we started to get some dovish rhetoric out of the ECB here lately. Core CPI, the projection was 7.1, right? So your core excluding food and energy came in at 6.9. So it appears, right? I say it appears because things can change, right? In this global economy that we live in, that we've got inflation starting to cool down a bit. So the central banks are doing their job. So when we come down to the United States today, we see that housing starts and building permits missed forecast, right? Came in at 148. On 148 was the forecast for housing starts, came in at 1.43. And forecast of 1.49 million on building permits came in at 1.44. Somebody quickly tell me, take a shot at it. Why do we look at housing starts and building permits? Why is it important? Commodities. Okay. Who else? Anybody else?
Yeah, I think it contributes to inflation due to higher housing. The more people buy properties, the more money flows into the market, and that influences inflation. So if the housing started falling, then it means people are not spending on properties, and so inflation coming down.
All right. It plays into that. It plays to that inflation narrative, right, or deflation. Okay, I can roll with that. Anybody else? What was the question? Why, Reese? Why do we look at housing starts and building permits? Right? Why do we look at that when we look at a country's economy? It's not just the U.S., right? Everybody looks at it. Jeremy could play into inflation, right? That's true, right? Spending and things like that. But also, right, when we look at the overall health of an economy, okay, when we look at what happens, right? First of all, before you start building permits, right? A lot of people look at building permits because in order to start building anything, you got to have a permit, right? So it looks at the overall gauge, where the demand is at. But also, when you look at building and housing, right? The amount of jobs and things like that that spawn off of that. So you talk about economy is growing. Yep. Economy, right? The overall health of that economy, right? Reese, Jeremy, good. So that, you know, when you look at the overall health, right, the business, because it leads to jobs, which Jeremy's talking about job creation. We know that that's been sticky, but when you have those numbers up, right, that can lead to more jobs, construction jobs, subcontractors, building supplies. There's so many, when you build something, there's so many players involved, and it affects so many different areas of our economy in regards to the overall health and growth. That's why that's important. So great job, guys. Great job on that. But that's why that is important. Okay. And like Jeremy said, right, that can ultimately lead to higher inflation, right? If housing permits are up, jobs are being created, right? Increased wages, things like that, that can lead to inflation being sticky because of wage growth, right? So great work. So that is why that is important, and that's why it can have a positive or negative effect on the country's economy and eventually its currency. So that's why we watch that. So great work. Now, 9:30, we have the employment change and unemployment rate coming up, right? That's one of those key global macro indicators that we pay attention to, right? So we've got that coming up for Australia. Let's see what happens with the employment numbers, unemployment rate. So we're expecting an employment change, 15.4, 3.6 on the unemployment rate. Let's see what happens. All right, let's see what happens at 9:30. I also have, and I'm going to put here in the chat for everybody, some articles. So we've got an article regarding the ECB, and one of the representatives from the ECB talking, saying, hey, very likely to raise interest rates, European Central Bank next week, about 25 basis points. After that, it's kind of data dependent and up in the air, right? We talked about that yesterday. So I'll put this in the chat for everybody to read. Okay, and these articles don't take long to read at all, right? I also have one on the New Zealand, right? And the inflation data that just came out for New Zealand. So you can read about that. And then let me post this one. And then there's an article regarding some meetings and some data that's expected to come out here soon regarding the Bank of Japan, right, and their monetary policy. And we talk about that all the time, how they've kept an ultra loose monetary policy position. And so this article kind of goes into that, some things that we could possibly expect. I believe it when I see it, right? So we'll see what happens with their yield curve control. They really control that tight because they want to make sure that they keep a tight grip on their influence in regards to borrowing and lending rates, because they want to make sure that they ensure the proper levels of borrowing and spending in the economy. They want to keep things attractive because we know that Japan is a net export economy. Okay, so they keep a tight grip on that, and they have a target rate for where they want their. I primarily talk about the 10-year bond yields to be. Okay, so they keep a tight grip on that, and they have a whole policy around that, and that's where you keep hearing all the rumors coming from and surrounding that yield control policy, and if they're going to change it at all. I don't know if they will, especially with some of we see this cooling inflation and everything coming through. So that's 3 articles right there dealing with fundamentals from 3 different countries and economies. So definitely have some fun with that. Tomorrow, we've got United States, we've got the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index and unemployment claims coming through. We got some retail sales, existing home sales for the US. We've got some retail sales data coming out of the UK, and we've got core retail sales and retail sales coming for Canada on Friday. So, yep. So, of course, this week we haven't heard much from the Fed, the U.S. Federal Reserve. So it's been pretty light in that regard. But that is it on the fundamental front. Ryan, anything out there that you've been paying attention to?
I've been reading on yen things too. There's a a fund that put 800 billion on the short side of Japan bonds. So he's looking for
Oh,
that
wow.
monetary policy shift too. So a lot of investors are looking to Friday for the inflation data coming out of Japan to see what happens. I'm with you. I believe it when I see it. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cause I think either way, right? We've seen it where they've made no change, it creates a run on the currency, and so I can only imagine if they do at some point come to the conclusion that they're gonna change it, what the market's gonna do with that yen. So
Yeah.
it could be quite volatile for sure. So we'll see. We'll see. But that's all I've got on the fundamentals right now. Just I guess the continuing narrative is that inflation, the data coming out continues to cool with these major currencies. And I think what was it? So on the market front, I think Goldman Sachs missed target today, but I think if I'm not mistaken, what I was looking at earlier, the CEO kind of talked up some of his optimism on the investment front. So I think it kind of saved them, but I think they missed, today. I have to read more into that, but I thought I saw that come across the headline.
There were a few that missed their margins.
Okay.
So that was some of the talk too. I think Tesla was one. And the bank might have been two, but that's been a big talk. Also, there's that talk around AT&T is picking up more. They
yeah.
basically have to remove all of these lead lines that they run. But also there's talks about layoffs, major layoffs coming for AT&T in November.
Okay.
So something else to watch for.
Let the foes go, huh? And you say your husband's workplace. You want an instant impact to your bottom line? Go ahead and lay some folks off, I guess. Seems like they can all the degrees at the top. Seems like people can start getting a little bit more creative than that. To solve problems, but each their own, I guess. But
Yep.
that should be interesting moving forward. Definitely keep an eye on that AT&T, that stock. So we'll have to mark that up for sure. Yep. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, no doubt, man. Appreciate you.
Yep, for sure. All right, everybody. So let's dive into and take a look at the charts. Matter of fact, let's start. When we start tonight and take a look at the S&P and see what it did today as we continue to get earnings reported. And let's take a look at the daily, right? Starting to hover a bit right around those levels. Okay. Not a buy right now. Not at this point. We're gonna wait a little bit, see what happens right through the rest of the week. So we're just kind of pausing a little bit, starting to get a little sideways movement. He says office manager more likely be affected. He said office manager. Yep, starting at the top. That seems like that's been the narrative. Yeah, right, Ryan. That's kind of been the narrative, right, with these layoffs this year. Is they're starting at the top.
Yeah, it definitely has been. Like that was one of the things with Salesforce, and you're right, Joy, about AT&T. One of their offices in Texas, they're letting go some leaders in their training development center and things like that. So they're looking to, from what I understand, what I've been reading is they're outsourcing those jobs to India.
Oh, I see. Hey, well, we always say we're all connected, whether we like it or not. So
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, we're outsourcing. All right. Well, hey, the good thing is we're on the investor side. We're starting to figure that out. More and more people are starting to figure it out how to play the game. So hopefully everybody will be okay. So that's where we are on the S&P. We'll take a quick look at the at the NAS, see what's going on there. Right, starting to see some correcting, right? Because we're at the D extension on that daily, right? And we're at resistance. Okay, so we're sitting pretty high. Maybe due for a correction. It's been a really good run. We'll continue to watch it throughout the rest of the week. See what we're looking like. Right, so those are easy to take a look at, kind of all sitting in a similar position there, right? That one's already formed a high on the 4 hour. Right, so maybe we'll see a continued decline there for a correction. So overall bullish, right? Kind of in that up retracement zone, potentially. Right, we're stalling right there in that area on the 1. Trying to see if I have my fib here. Yeah. Okay. So there we are, kind of in that similar position, but we're right in that 80-20 zone, and we've seen price stall, move sideways, like we talked about, kind of textbook, right? So now it's just a matter of, do we get this slight pullback into that bearish candle and a continuation down, right? So, but first we've got to go ahead and make it through this zone here, where price has reacted, starting to react a bit, right in that area. But we know, right? We get a reaction out of that zone, and that's what we had, right? Look how strong that move was to the upside. Look how strong that is, and it just pushed sideways. And then we got price to sell off a bit. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that, see if we get a further downside corrections, as we do have some more big players. I have to look at the list, but some more big players to report tomorrow for earnings. So let's take a look at the Dow. All right, new AB boundary on the 4. Okay, but been moving up ever since that trend line break. Had some sideways movement, and then we broke out. So that's where we are. We got a new AB boundary. So, you know, if we want to remain bullish, we know we like a low price. All right, so let's see if we get it. See if we get it there. And there's your 1, right? Holding above. Look at that. So you got a new AB boundary on the 4. You got price that shot up past the 80-20 zone here, right? I wonder if that'll run into the D extension, which will push that price a little bit higher on the 4. So we'll see. I'll see what you got. Has resistance becoming future support right in this zone right there. Okay. So I wonder if that'll hold and creep up a bit from this 1 hour view. This template. See where we are. Yeah. That might make a run. That might push a little bit higher. All right. So here's a 1 hour level here. The next high. Okay. Be interesting to see if that hold. That's trying to confirm, right? As a matter of fact, that should be a confirmed low on that. You like those type of moves. That is a 1 hour low right there. That's support. Okay. So that's where we sit. Nice correction, right? We definitely sold off at a high, but we're looking like we're holding a bit. Oops. That's a potential little mini play there, right off of that wave. Bam. See you tomorrow. The lower rate, you mean like the lower interest rates? Yeah, for the index, for the indices, right? You're seeing it rally, right? You're seeing the market rally. So far so good for them. The market's taking it, you know, as a positive. Sometimes you'll see like CPI data come through like it has been, and sometimes you'll get a mixed reaction because overall it may be coming down, but there may be key sectors that the markets are paying attention to, and maybe is not coming down at a faster rate in some key areas, and so sometimes it could be a mixed reaction from the market. But this latest data, especially out of the U.S., has led to a pretty good rally. So I have to say the market's definitely been taking it as a positive, because of course they're looking ahead, right? Thinking about, hey, they've got to be coming to the central banks, maybe coming to the end of their rate hiking cycles, which the market is going to look favorably upon that. So there's a good possibility that the rally will continue. So we'll continue to track the data. Great question, Jeremy. Yeah, that makes sense. Am I clear on that? Hope so.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So that's where we are. That's where we are there on the US 30. So we'll continue to watch that to see if that level holds, and if it wants to continue to move up. I have to look to see who's all reporting tomorrow. Maybe I have to look that data up. What else do we have? Looked at the NAS, the Nikkei today. See what happened there. Right. I'm doing this because I know there's a lot of people that like to trade indexes, so might as well mark them up. So we've got a correcting today. Right. We've got a correcting. So we've got that break. Right. And it seems like we're coming down a little bit lower. Right. Maybe we'll form a higher low prior to taking this. I don't know if that'll push deeper. We'll see. But that's where we are. So still overall bullish. We've got some corrective action on that today. If we take a look at the one on the 1 hour. Can I adjust that? See if we can see what the wave is looking like on the one there. All right. So that might confirm a low in the zone. There. Keep forgetting we have to do this. There we go. So that might be a decent play. That 1 hour stochastic is in the buy zone. 4 hours not quite there yet. So we'll continue to watch to see if that wants to push lower, right? So we'll see. Continue to watch that 4 hour stochastic, see if that momentum will start to slow, and maybe play it off that 1 hour for long if you trade that. All right. Okay. What else? Let's take a look at I guess I didn't start off taking a look at the DXY today, like we typically do. And we can see that it's starting to find a little bit of support in the zone that we were talking about, coming into that weekly support zone. Right. We got a little bit of a bounce today. So we'll see if that can sustain itself. Right. Maybe we pay attention closely, pay close attention to that daily support level that it pushed below. If we get a close back beyond that, maybe we get further upside momentum on the dollar for a correction. Right. Not quite sure yet. We have to wait and see. You can already see here, right, on the 4, that it tried and it rejected right off of it. So we'll continue to watch that move there. That's a reconfirm on the 4 right there of that level. So let's see. And it's in the sell zone. So that bump, that push to the upside might be over. What you think, Ryan, on that, on the dollar?
Yeah, that zone, man, is one that is what I have my eyes on. So I'm it might be over. That run might be over. But it came back and reached us to that area nicely. So
yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens overnight on that one. Interesting once it comes into this level here. It continues to move to the downside.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue to watch that on the dollar. So we got that move to the upside that we were thinking about. So we got a little bump, and now we're looking for that correction. So here it is on a daily on the CAD yen. Right, we were looking closely at this one, the dollar yen and the CAD yen. We got a stochastic in the buy zone. And so we can see here that we're pulling back. So we got the push, and now we're correcting. So we got that move to start, that bullish move to the upside. So you got the bullish engulfing. Look how it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles it took out, right? So that's a classic bullish engulfing candle there. And then you can see how it continued to push up. So if you're not in on that yet, right, you can look at this 1 hour chart and see if we can get it to come right back down into our sweet spot, past resistance, potentially becoming future support. And then maybe we look to continue to get long, right? So if you're the type, hey, I want to see the price take off a bit, then come back to me, this could be setting up for that. So continue to watch the CAD yen. Once it establishes a new low price, to potentially look for a long continuation on the CAD yen. Any questions there on that CAD yen? Again, watching. All right, cool. Again, watching those yen crosses closely. Dollar yen got the bump too. We're gonna see, right, if this can maintain this momentum. Or if it's just gonna start to move a little bit sideways on us. Let's see. So it's pretty much doing the same thing as that CAD yen, right? We got that bullish move, and now it's correcting, retesting that bullish candle. And so if we come down here to the 4, we can see that we're turning over a bit. All right, so you can see we got the momentum off to 61.8. You got your morning star decision, indecision, decision, right? That kickstarted that move to the upside. Now we're correcting, right? So we could come down to the lower time frame and try to figure out, hey, what exactly is going on? And you can see our stochastic on the 1 is back in the buy zone. So it's gonna be interesting to see, can we get price to settle? Start to settle somewhere in our zone, right? And then make a move back to the upside. Okay. Yen's not the strongest, dollar's not the strongest, right? But we know where we are in regards to the yen and what we've been talking about. So even a dollar that's showing some weakness has the potential to continue long against the yen. So now we've gotten a good start. Let's see what happens if it's going to pull back and settle in somewhere and continue long. All right, it's going to be a little iffy. So we'll continue to watch this dollar yen scenario. Any questions on the dollar yen? Oh,
No, sir.
all right. So I was looking at those from the higher time frame. It's just longer term swings, small positions to see what we can make out of it. You know, as long as the Bank of Japan maintains their stance, right? So we'll continue to see how these play out. I want to take a look at Bitcoin on the latest swing. And it's still holding in that zone. Yeah. So that 32,467 level, still playing around with in that area. I want to come break through that and reject it. Kind of moving sideways. It's taking its time though. All righty. Yep. I'm still mad about that XRP, Ryan.
Man, you and me both.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. I've been mad for 5 years. Yeah, they canceled it out. Like I was sitting on it and couldn't buy anymore when the whole court case started. And then they come out on top and it skyrockets. So Jeremy, thanks for the heads up on that. Wow.
Wow.
What in the world?
Wow.
32,000.
Take a look at the Aussie dollar, bro.
That's exactly what I'm about to go to. fib that I had. I had that fib coming off the low and inside the box. Now I gotta find the right
Mhm.
level. There we go.
I missed this one on the one. It's a little better look.
Oh yeah,
It got down to the 618 retracement level on the one.
that's taking off.
It's gone.
What's this low on this candle? That's good. That's probably gonna go for a ride. What's the low on that? 67.50. Power of fundamentals. What in the world? Over a half.
Man,
Well, we played the breakout right. I was wondering. See, this is what got me bothered was this here, right? So let me clear this out, and that's why I had taken my because once we played the breakout, let me take this out so everybody can see it clearly, so you know where it's going now. It double top right here in the zone. You see that rejection? So I was wondering, like, is this going to continue to, if that dollar was going to find the floor, then I was thinking like this may just continue to move back down, at least to retest the zone that it broke out of. But yeah, that might break through the highs. That might break through the highs. Yeah, so they may continue to gain momentum. That's a big number.
a huge number, man.
Scale says it. Gold rallying with the Aussie. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll take a look at gold. That definitely makes sense. Wow. Well, I think that's probably going to be a play, especially after the pullback. If the pullback holds, whenever that happens, if you weren't already in it already off that breakout play from a while ago. See how it closes. It's gone right. That's the 5 minute. That's an 80-20. So most likely take out the A. Shallow retracement less than the 382. Fell down to the 80-20 zone and we got the reversal. All right, this is on the 5 minute chart. So it doesn't matter the time frame. Right? That's been gone. So that'll eventually form a new fib and keep it moving. So let's see what we can get. All right. We got a clean trend line break. See if we can get a close. The stochastic isn't lined up. That's never going to happen when you get a strong fundamental occurrence like that. It's moving too fast and it's a lagging indicator, right? So start off of that. If that closes at the high right there. All right, so that's a possibility. Let's pay attention to that Aussie dollar. What's this Aussie CAD doing then? We got to swing back to the upside. Yep. That one's swinging too. That's a 4-hour low. Be interesting once that moves back up to 90.56. It's just always a matter of how long is it going to sustain itself. All right. So let's keep those eyes on the Aussies.
I've got a fib running off that high right there, bro.
Right here?
Nope.
Or off this one?
Mm-hmm. To the second one.
I mean, the market, of course, the market's taking it as a positive, but when you look at it relative to everything else that's going on with the odds, I wonder how strong that's gonna stay. I don't know. That's a good number. That's a good number, everybody. 32,000. Achieving full employment. Wow. We shall see. That's strong. We'll see how that's happening overnight. Of course, we're in the Asian session, everybody. So we're not even seeing the full effects, right? We go into London and to New York tomorrow. Right, we'll see how the market's going to react to this data. But right now, that's a good move to the upside. We got it. We've got a fib still intact off the low. Nope. So that's going to take out the A and reset itself, and we'll flip it the other way off the 1. This one's been a little bit all over the place. All righty. Well, hey, I know we've been waiting on this one. All right. Broke that range. So that one's been moving sideways forever in the zone. That might be the catalyst that we need. $94.43. Low. The swing low that's there. Been liking this one for a while, but it hasn't been able to make up his mind. I think that might be all that it needs. We got an A6 pullback, so it doesn't have far to go to hit an extension. All right. Almost 50 pips or so off of where it's at now. Right. So if you've been involved in this swing and you've just been waiting, right? That's good. That's good for you. It's finally breaking loose. That's an inner to outer trend line break potentially. So that's the game. There's the longer play off that daily 382. Questions on the Aussie yen? Is this fun or what? At least it is for me. I don't know.
Yep.
To continue to swing, it's a little bit choppier. But the New Zealand isn't exactly weak either right now. So we'll see what happens there. You know, the Swissie's been strong. How's that reacting? A little pushback. Causing a bit of a correction. I don't know if that's going to sustain itself against the Swiss. We'll see. It's short off that trend line break. It's the one. You're in your 80-20 zone, right? I missed this one. This one just set itself up off this break. Yeah, I've been short off the break. That's decent. Maybe a pullback and a continuation, right? Up to target. So if we could keep its momentum against the Swissy, at least for a correction. All right. We set an upside target there. Like so. So I already have the 5 minute up. So in the 5 or the 15. Okay, we know that that's a target for us to shoot for. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull this off. So we've clearly got a break moving to the upside, and what we'll see is if it's taking out a high, it's taking out a couple highs now, right? So if we get a pullback, that's not going to reset just yet. We need a high to form. So what that'll look like, everybody, is something like, let me pull this to the middle of the screen. So once it forms a high, right, here's our low within the AB boundary. It's way overextended, right? Of course, fundamentals, that if that maintains itself as the high, then we look for a correction and then eventually a continuation. If we can get it, might just keep running, but that would be ideal. And this is a 5 minute chart. All right, so any type of pullback can give you the opportunity to get back long. The way we can look at that. We'll see. Let's see. We know a lot sometimes with these impulsive moves, right? The market will take back quite a bit of it before continuing, right? In the upward direction in this case. So let's be patient. Let's be patient. Yeah, we can check the euro odd because we came in at that extension, or at least that 118 that I had marked up. I don't think it deactivated though, but I had a 118 target after that deeper correction. So I wonder if we're getting that reaction too. Yeah, we did. Look. So we ended up with an 8-6 correction, right? So we had it drawn up both ways. So it came in at that 118. Now, when I went through earlier today, I don't know why it didn't deactivate because it hit that high, this high candle. It came in at that 118 target. So I don't know if it was because it was so strong, like that candle, that it just missed it. But this one I'm out of. I'm out on this one already because it came in at that target. So the correction is expected, not to that extent, but see that high was 166.02. The 118 extension 166.02. Right? The was 166.025. So it just barely missed it. That's why I didn't deactivate. But I had my TP set earlier though. So that's why I didn't deactivate because it was just, what is it, a half a pip or something crazy. But it came in right around the target that we projected. So for it to be correcting now, I don't know. It makes sense being that it came in at an extension. So we'll see how deep it wants to correct it. Maybe it'll just continue long. But I secured the back. You're out too on that. Okay, Reese, are you in that still, or did you get out? That moved quite a bit, or at least adjusted your stop. Got stopped out in the profit. Okay, good. So you managed to trade. Good job. Good job on that. Yeah. So it was a good run. Got a big correction now. It's amazing, right? That timing, right? Technicals and fundamentals. Got right up in that zone, and now we've got a report coming out, and we've got a rejection then. So that was right on. That was right on the money. That was right on the money for the most part. Any questions on this Euro Aussie play?
No, sir.
All right. Take a look at this pound dollar. So this one's U-turning a bit. All right. Now this one I'm out. I got out after that huge drop, and like I'm gone. That was so impulsive. So this one I did not hold to target, but we've got a pullback going on now. It's probably gonna end up finishing out there, but we got a decent correction. Ryan, you still holding this? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm still holding that one.
Still holding. I bailed, man. I woke up
My
this
stop
morning
is
and
in
seen that.
profit, but no, I dig it. I dig it. It was a nice strong move to the downside. My stop is in profit just above that last high there, just above 130.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if it breaks that, then I'm out. But yeah,
He's still holding too. Okay. Yeah, when I seen that move this morning, I was like, let me go ahead and close the door. Because I actually had a cloud on my phone, you know, on my 1 hour, and it was pressing up against that cloud. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead and take my money and run on this one. Because when I saw it pressing against that cloud, I'm like, this is probably gonna correct at some point. You know, you never can be sure, but it's pulling back now. But you know, that's typical. That's typical. So let's see if it it's a good job, right? Managing that trade, moving your stop into profit. That's all you can do. All right. That's all you can do. Or take some of the position off the table. All right, so that's where we are now. Okay. But that got close. That got close to the TP. What was that low? 50 more pips. You know, so it moved 200 pips out of the zone before correcting. All right, that's a good day at the office. Any questions on the pound dollar?
No.
No. All right. Floor is open. We got some time left. All right. Any pairs we want to take a look at? Euro NZD.
Euro NZD.
All righty. Gold. Okay. So let's take a look at that Euro NZD. It was making a run. All right. Topping out a bit, right? We're coming back below that 178. 35. I think eventually it still moves a target, but we might get a little range bound, right? We close what concerns me on this one is we're back below that 178.35 level, right? That's a support. That a support should be. All right. So we start to let me get this out of here. So if we break and close right back below this, then we may have some more downside pressure. I mean, but overall, it's still bullish. It's still within the framework. But we do have a nice correction going on right now. We're coming back in to retest this support. Right? Which is, look at that. Look at where that's at. Okay, and it rejected before. So I would watch to see how it reacts at this level. You know, if it holds and we get the bounce in the continuation, right? So we took out a high, made a higher high, and we're coming back to retest it right now. So when you just look at it as just raw structure, that's what we're looking at. So, you know, correction, no problem, right? Rejected this level again. Okay. So let's see, right, if it holds. If that past resistance holds as future support, and if it does and it creates a low, then we look to probably get back long. Okay. But we've got to pay attention to these levels. Okay. This is zoomed in view on the 1. Okay. 1 hour stochastic is in the buy zone. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You've got a reaction coming off the Aussie data. So let's see how it goes. Questions? No? All right, let's take a look at gold. I am still stunned by this Australian, this jobs number. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so let's look at gold. Ryan, you ever let your kids stay up a little late and you tell them finish watching the episode and go to bed and nobody's listening?
Man, and they're up an extra 2.5 hours.
It's like they know I'm teaching class. It's like he's not putting it on pause. We're just gonna stay up.
Yep.
Oh, that sounds like having a party downstairs. Yeah. So here we are. That's a 4-hour look on gold. We're pushing, right? So you have to think to yourself, we get a break in the close, or we could just continue. We could just continue on to that extension off the 4. Let's look at the daily. We're moving, right? So our analysis is pretty good on that coming off the weekly. Right? Out of that zone, we're still running hot. So the question is, are we headed back to that 2000 level to retest it again? We might hit there. Further dollar declines, right? Maybe that's what we're gonna get. Gold going back to 2000 and beyond. Maybe we finally break past that zone that has been struggling at. It's been getting ricket reactions off that high. That's a nice play. Joy, you still holding? Close. Okay. It's all right. I know you did pretty good on it. So get the bag, walk away. There's another one around the corner. Cool deal. What else? What else do we have, everybody? My feet's got too high to carry it. Nothing else? Everybody just sitting on their hands, sitting on the sideline?
You look at that pound yen for me, bro?
I can. It's starting to come down a little bit. Did we ever get the new oh, there it is. I could take this one out that I had manually out now. New AB boundary correcting. Oh, have you been riding this short or you just waiting?
I'm just waiting. I didn't take the short because I wanted to push up in that 118, 127 zone there on the 4. So I'm watching now. I got a daily support level. Let me get back there. 179,898. So right at that low. Yeah, right around there.
Okay.
Mine is a little off, but yeah, that's where
Yeah,
it's
it's all good. It's within the range.
So basically I'm looking to see if that level holds. So on the 1, that support level is a 618 retracement.
Okay.
So I'm looking to see on the higher time frame if it's just going to be a shallow retracement and then a push to the upside to get into that daily 118, 127. Take you to 1 hour D extension. So that's what I'm watching to see if we get some push to the upside there.
Okay.
up?
Hey, Benny.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you look at GBP card for me, please?
Well, and you know what? I don't want to look at it, Jeremy, but I'm gonna look at it because I'm sad about that one
Okay.
because it missed my target, my limit target, and it dropped. So
Yeah,
I'm a
me
little bit
too.
sad. Yeah, I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little bit sad about that one. So, yo, let me draw this out then.
I didn't look at that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see if that continues to decline because what it did is it hit some higher time frame extensions, you know.
Yeah.
So, especially coming on the heels of that CPI data. So I didn't see it either. Because that means I should be short on that.
Yeah.
And this would be a big play. But I was like you, that's over 200 pips. I was like you looking at that 4 hour that it hadn't pushed up to that 80-20 zone and that it was just turning over and with expecting prior to the CPI data, expecting, the aggressive rate hikes. I was kind of hesitant about taking that short in that pound yen on a correction, but that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one right now. That's a pretty good one. So we'll continue to see what happens with that one. See what happens if it breaks that support, right?
Yeah. Cool do.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep. No problem. All right. Let's take a look at this one. It's starting to settle down at least. All right. That's at a 50% stochastic in the buy zone. All right, Jeremy. Remember, we can make up for it. So the question becomes, right? Do we form a low here? Right? We know we're starting to see it on the forward that's retraced 50%, right? Has resistance becoming future support? What I would love to see is just the stochastic move back into the buy zone on the daily. Right? We know what's going on here on the lower time frames, but that would be the ultimate. We know we've got a buy zone here on the 4. So I want to watch this on the mirror to see what happens. This is a confirmed low now on the 4, Jeremy, and we're back above that daily level. And then here's the 1. That's a heartbreaker.
Oh,
I can never get it back on my chart. Yeah, I think I had it up around that 127. I didn't have any type of order set up at that 118. I wanted it to test that 173 monthly level. And it didn't. And it dropped. And that was it.
My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
I was gonna say on the 4. I know we had the crown there, but I ran a smart bid. And that support level is just shy of a 6-minute retracement also.
The 4, you coming off the 4?
Yeah.
You ran to the downside?
Yep, that right there. So that support at 169.248, just shy of that 6-minute retracement.
Yeah. Man. So let's see what happens if it holds in the zone and maybe it turns over, maybe it holds. I'm gonna watch that daily stochastic, but I kind of shut everything down when I missed this move here.
Yeah, I didn't play the short either.
Yeah, I wanted to see it push a little bit higher and I didn't. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. Got to keep it together. Yeah, that was a nice move. So we'll see, Jeremy. I'm gonna continue to be patient. We got a little bit of a misalignment right now. 4 hours in the buy zone, 1 hour in the sell zone here on the stochastic. Maybe we put turnover, push a little bit deeper. Then at that point, maybe we got good alignment between our daily 4-hour and 1. And then I'll look to get long because we've got CPI cooling. But they're still way above target in the UK. So I'm expecting a hike. It just depends on whether it's 25 or 50 basis points. So continue to read and follow the fundamentals on that. But still overall along the pound, just in an up retracement zone, right? Price is correcting and retracing. It's just a matter of how deep it wants to correct before we get the swing. But that's what I'm waiting on that one now. So, and if it continues down, that means that's TP2, and that was a huge. So, Jeremy, new opportunity around the corner. That is correct, sir. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, that moved fast too.
Sir,
What'd you say?
I said yes, sir.
For sure. What else do we have out here before we close out? Yeah, that one set me back a little bit today. Anything else? That's it.
Reset, if you could pop back on gold and look at the 4-hour.
Okay. Let's do it. You guys can see these are definitely not, especially some of our newer members. These aren't 10 and 15 pip moves, right? We're trying to grab a hold of. We're trying to be patient and catch the big moves. Gold 4-hour. What we thinking, Reese? I ran it off that low. You have a larger fib or anything running?
You're looking at that 80-20 right there, looking for a
Oh.
potential short.
Right here in the zone.
Yeah.
Potentially, right? On that one, if you're looking at that, because it's breaking above that resistance, like you said, you got the same thing. Okay. With the momentum that it has, because you can see how it's breaking out from a sideways move, right? So those are just those little nuances, right, that we know about, right? So we're starting to get a breakout from a consolidation, so that can lead to strong buying, coming behind that. And so it might just push to the D. So if I was ever looking for any type of short play, I would drop down to my lower time frame and draw a trend line, and wait for, a break of major support and a pullback to convince me to get short on something like that when I'm seeing that sideways move. And then so you got where price accumulated and consolidated, and now is breaking out of that zone and above a resistance level. So, but we had to keep an eye on it. Like I say, draw some trend lines, just some additional confirmation, whatever you use for that, whether it's a cloud break, things like that. But I would definitely look to see it push. It would have to convince me with a nice bearish move and then a correction back to see if it's sustainable to the downside. Right? Give me a high price to short. So that's what I would think on that. I definitely don't want to sell it because I'm bearish on the dollar. Yeah. Especially just seeing that. I'm glad I dropped down to the 4 on that DXY on that dollar. It's forming that high. The dollar could be tricky, man. So it's like just when we think that, there's certain folks that we listen to, traders, pro traders, and it's like they've been calling for the death of the dollar for like the last 3 years.
Right.
That's like because it's coming because they've got large short positions on the dollar, right? And so they're like they're trying to talk it into existence, and it's like, man, it must be painful for them because it just has not happened over the long term. It hasn't been that long, crazy, sustained move that they're looking for. It tends to it's been finding support somewhere in that range and then moving back to the upside. But you never know when you keep saying it until you're right, and then you say, "I told you so," right? That's usually how things go, right? So, yeah. That's like, who was that? Who was that? Is that Robert Kiyosaki, Ryan? That like
Yep.
keep putting out the doomsday scenarios on the dollar and bond silver and gold, and it's been like 20 years. And it's like, but it only takes like one time. It takes when it finally happens, it's like I told you, and it's like, what? So, but yeah, that's that. So one last call. Any other pair, one more pair, anything before we log off tonight? That the Aussie situation threw me for a loop. Like that's a big number. So I had a whole nother agenda, but oil, okay. Yep. Let's take a look. Still holding that. It's hovering, ain't it? It is. It is. Let's see. Can't make up his mind. It's a little indecisive, but it broke. Look, it closed. Right? We got 2 days now where it's just been trying to make his mind. It pushed up higher. So market's rallying. I'm gonna read about that China, the stimulus. Have you heard anything else about that, Ryan? About the stimulus out of China?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, because I know there's some optimism there. Because of course, the economy's having a tough time getting going. So the government's talking about stimulus, but I don't know the time frame when that takes effect, because that could drive demand, because it leads to increased spending, right? Which can create a demand for oil. So let me read up on that to try to figure out what I think oil might do next. But right now it's doing nothing, right? It pushed up and then came right back to the close pretty much. And now we're in a new day, and it's kind of just moving sideways. So you can see it even more here on the right, even after that strong momentum. That's a strong candle there, and look what it did. Right? It rejected again. So I got nothing. Do we have any I don't have any inventories or anything coming through. Oh, there it was. It's Wednesday, 10:30. It's down. Built 15 weeks. Here, I'll post this article. I'm gonna read up on this, because I can't tell you right now. But I'll read up on it. You guys read up on it. Case for oil and which direction it might go. Okay. So what's my man got on? Instead of 200, like he's got a 200 just below. All righty, right? So I look forward to reading this article. So he's got a 200 moving average there, and you can see where it's stalling. What chart is this? That's a daily chart. So that's where it's having an issue. That's why we see it moving a bit sideways. So we'll see if we can if we get that break, or if it stays below. All right. There's nothing else. Ryan, anything before we wrap things up? Great session, everybody. Australian dollar.
Man. Hey, that Australian dollar is something different, man. But no, nothing else, bro. Great session, man. Greatly appreciate you.
All right. Well, hey, we're right back at it in the morning. The show doesn't stop. 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. Have a great night, everybody.